It is now my pleasure to welcome to the stage John Hernandez, APS Vice President of Site Services at Palo Verde Generating Station. He represents one of the major sponsors of this evening's event, and he is here to recognize the work and achievements of our keynote speaker, Dr. Stephen R. Gonzalez, the Chancellor of Maricopa County Community College District. Thank you.
Good evening. See, Kathleen, they have these glasses where you can cheat on the bottom, and it helps you read from far away. Thanks, Kathleen. I will tell you, it is an honor to be here tonight and introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Stephen Gonzalez. If you don't know much about Dr. Gonzalez, he has nearly 25 years of instructional and administrative experience in higher education, and is a nationally recognized leader in education and workforce development. In September 2022, Dr. Gonzalez was appointed the Chancellor of the Maricopa County Community College District. If you don't know much about it, it is one of the largest community college systems in the nation, with a local economic impact of $7.2 billion. It serves nearly 100,000 students with the support of 8,000 faculty and staff across 10 different colleges. As the highest ranking official, he guides the mission and the vision of the district, spearheading initiatives that promote economic prosperity, academic and civic opportunities for the Maricopa County. He's a native of Coolidge and a first-generation college graduate, earning his doctorate in education administration in a top-ranking community college leadership program from the University of Texas, which we're not going to hold against him, because he holds a Master's of Arts in teaching mathematics and a Bachelor's of Science in secondary education with a focus on mathematics from Northern Arizona University. And he's also served on over 15 local nonprofit boards. So we're grateful for Dr. Gonzalez's strong partnership with APS and Arizona's business community. We rely on him and his team at the Maricopa County Community College District to continuously enhance and boost our workforce capabilities and innovation. You know, on a personal note, I think Dr. Gonzalez is our perfect keynote speaker for the event. He exemplifies Cesar Chavez's values through his commitment to advancing equality and accelerating economic mobility for all, by removing barriers to post-secondary education and creating new career pathways. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Gonzalez to the stage.
Good evening, and thank you so much for that warm introduction. I really appreciate that. I woke up this morning and started needing these as well, so I'm going to put these on so that I don't miss anything here that I plan to say tonight. I want to thank the West Valley Foundation Chair, Martin Samiago, along with other members of the foundation, for the opportunity to speak to you at this wonderful event. I've been asked to share my story or journey as it relates to the legacy of Cesar Chavez. I also want to recognize members of my family in attendance tonight, my wife Desiree, kids Austin, Jenna, Corbin, Reagan, Jackson, future daughter-in-law Hunter, and my mom and dad, Ray and Francis Gonzalez. You guys stand up, raise your hands here. I have the wonderful honor of serving as the Chancellor of the Maricopa Community College District, and there are several people in the room that I want to recognize very quickly because I can't do it without their work. And I happen to have every single community college president in Maricopa County here this evening. So let me thank you. As I say your name quickly, please stand and be recognized. I have Dr. Ray Rivera for Estrella Mountain. Dr. Richard Daniel from South Mountain. Dr. Tiffany Hernandez from Glendale. Dr. Kimberly Britt from Phoenix College and Mesa. Dr. Greg Peterson from Chandler Gilbert. Dr. Jana Schwartz from Paradise Valley. Dr. Eric Lezinski from Scottsdale. Dr. Kate Smith from Rio Salado. And Dr. Amy Diaz from Gateway. Thank you for being here tonight, Presidents. And I know I have many other faculty, staff, and administrators in the room from Maricopa. I appreciate you being here this evening as well. So let me tell you a story. If this was a movie, this would be the part where you would see at the bottom, based on a true story. All right? I haven't always been a chancellor. In fact, at a time when this story begins, I'm fairly certain that I couldn't tell you what a chancellor did, what a chancellor was. So when people ask me, and they often do, did you always know you wanted to be a chancellor when you grew up? I typically respond and say no. In fact, when I was a kid, I played cops and robbers. And I was often the robber. So it's a good thing that that didn't work out. Well, throughout the 1950s and 60s, my parents had similar upbringings. Both had very strict, hard-working parents. My dad and his family followed crops from Texas up through Northern California. He picked and chopped cotton, pitched watermelons, picked grapes, and other fruits and vegetables depending on the season and location. During high school, he worked 40 hours a week to help support his family as the eldest of 7 children. My mom, having a somewhat more stable start, chopped cotton during summers in Coolidge, Arizona, on a farm where her father worked full-time most of his working life. For both sets of my grandparents, education was important, which meant finishing high school was a must, and anything beyond that was likely not even a consideration or possibility. After all, a high school diploma was more than anything all of my grandparents had as first-generation Americans growing up in the late 30s and 40s. For my brother and sister and I, however, the expectation was quite different. College would be the only option, even if I have to work 3 jobs, my dad would often say. I decided as early as 12 years old that I would walk a straight line towards that expectation, and here's where the story begins. During the end of my 6th grade year, my dad said to me, "Stephen, enjoy this summer. It's going to be your last." That's kind of the reaction that I had. As most third-generation, fully assimilated 12-year-olds might respond, I said, "What are you talking about, Dad? I get a summer break every year." To which he responded, "No, next year's going to be a little different. You will see." At the end of that next school year, my dad reminded me of what he had said the prior year. He had a pretty good memory because I forgot all about it. And he said, "On Monday, my Uncle Meme will come to pick you up around 4 a.m. to take you out to the fields to chop cotton, a place where I would spend the next 3 summers. Uncle Meme was typically a bricklayer, but he was a field contractor during the summer months. So be wary of anybody that you have in your family whose name is Meme." Each day, I would get home, often when my dad was leaving the house from his lunch break as one of a handful of mailmen in the city of Coolidge. He would often ask me, "How was your day at the office?" I never found this question very amusing, and I often ignored it. As many of you know and possibly experienced, chopping cotton involved walking up and down rows of cotton fields and removing all the weeds with a chopping hoe during the hottest months of the year. Recording your 10,000 steps a day usually happened before lunch. I remember one particular day. It must have been record heat, and perhaps my brain was fried a little, because I mustered the courage to snap back at my dad when he asked, "How was your day at the office?" I said, "It sucked, Dad." It's not an office. It's hot out there, and I don't understand why I have to be out there doing this. When you were my age, you had to do this because you were poor. You told us you were poor. And we are not poor. So why do I have to get up early every day while my friends are out having fun, riding bikes, swimming at the pool, and playing baseball in a lot near our house? Now, my dad was not a mean man, but he didn't spare the rod, and my mom did not spare the chancla either. Neither one of them ensured that we were never afraid of hard work. And growing up on a couple of acres of land with a variety of farm animals, there was always something to do at any age. So I braced myself for what I thought was coming, for raising my voice to my dad. And instead, looking back, I think he prepared for this moment. I think he wanted and planned for this moment when he said, "You're right." I think he threw in a Spanish cuss word that starts with the C, meaning hard-headed. He said, "You're right. You don't have to be out there like I did when I was your age. And for that, you should consider yourself lucky. I have you out there to learn a few things about life. One, I want you to know what hard work is and not to ever be afraid of it. I want you to learn the value of $1 so that each time you spend it, you will think twice because, boy, you have champagne taste and soda pop money. Also, if you ever think about dropping out of school, this is the type of work that's likely waiting for you. You are going to go to college and you will work in an office someday where you will be paid to use your mind and not your back. And when that day comes, I always want you to appreciate that." And my dad, seizing the opportunity, went ahead and threw in the sex talk, too. But this is not what you're thinking. There were no pictures, videos, props, or biology lessons. He simply said, "And if you ever get a girl pregnant while in high school, this is what's waiting for you because you will not walk away from that responsibility." And then I became the chancellor. Seriously, I knew going to college at that moment that I was gonna go. And while back in school after that 7th grade year, I have to tell you that I didn't even look at a girl because I thought I might get her pregnant. Later on, we watched the video and I found out how that actually happened. My dad would often say, "You're going to be denied many things in life, awards, jobs, promotions, because of who you are." He was talking about the color of our skin. "But know this, what you commit to your mind, no one can deny you of it. You can become anything you want." And I want you to forgive me for the language that I'm going to use here, but I want you to understand how stern my dad was and how supportive my parents were and the confidence that they built. But he said, "You can become anything you want. You put your pants on like any other son of a bitch out there. So don't let anyone ever make you feel less." Heeding that advice, I would go on and become the 8th grade class president, junior class president, student body president. I joined many clubs in high school and I ran track and I wrestled. I did everything with determination and absent of fear to work hard at it. I graduated nearly top of the class. I was the fastest Mexican in the 100 and 200 meter dash, and I was a state champion wrestler. I had a full academic scholarship to the university of my choice in Arizona, and I chose NAU. I finished and I finished and I became a high school math teacher at my alma mater, Coolidge High School, where I actually had my younger brother in AP Calculus. Parent-teacher conferences were fun that year. Later on, I became a professor, associate dean, associate vice president, president, and now chancellor over a 28-year period. Thank you. There is much more to the story where other important values such as integrity, respect, and faith were instilled through similar lessons and tough love at times. I was fortunate to have parents who loved us and sacrificed everything to ensure that we had a better station in life, filled with greater opportunities than they had. Between my brother, sister, and I, we have 3 bachelor's degrees, 3 master's degrees, and a doctorate. We are all in education as teachers, professors, or administrators. When I say that, however, I am prouder of my parents than I am of us when I think about it. Or perhaps, as a father of 5, I appreciate how much they did with so little. Or perhaps more impressive was their understanding of what research continues to demonstrate, and posited nearly 200 years ago by the first great American advocate of education, Horace Mann, who said, "Education then, beyond all other divides of human origin, is a great equalizer of conditions of men, the balance wheel of the social machinery." There are many reasons why I chose education as my career path and why I'm the chancellor of the Maricopa Community College District. If you know our student demographics, you'll figure out one of the biggest reasons. We are 160,000 students strong, comprised of 10 Hispanic serving institutions, where many of our students are students of color from lower socioeconomic backgrounds and likely the first in their family to go to college. In other words, I am them. They are at the center of every single decision that I make in this role. My parents and grandparents toiled long and hard under the Texas, Arizona, and California sun with less than desirable conditions. I stand on their shoulders and others like Cesar Chavez, who fought endlessly to ensure that we had a better chance at the American dream. For me to do anything less would be disrespectful of their sacrifice. Thank you.